I'm at the Brisbane headquarters of MDC and I'm about to check out one of their newest models, the Forte SR14 on-road caravan. Now, right here at the factory is where all the MDC models land when they're imported from China, because of course, MDC, they do have all their vans built over in China, but of course they're all built to MDC standards and specifications and of course all Australian compliance requirements. Now, right here is where they finish off the vans with things like electrical and gas and some other things that they might not have been able to fit the vans to get them into the shipping containers. But I look around and I see a lot of staff, they're all working hard, I see a few smiles. There is a brand new Forte SR14 on road waiting for me and I can't wait to check it out. So James, as we're driving along, I'm noticing that the caravan is tracking really quite well. I'm not noticing any feedback at all from the van. I'm not feeling any sort of porpoising up and down on the tow ball. It feels like it's quite a well-weighted caravan in terms of towing.
For sure. I mean, we run the independent trailing arm suspension on all of our Forte SR Series caravans. Independent suspension, as you know, does afford itself to a lot better handling on a road, more than, I guess, the more traditional style beam and leaf axle. So engineered, designed and manufactured completely in-house with our partner manufacturing facility for sure.
So what about some of the safety features? You know, a caravan these days, it's got to have a reversing camera.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got rear view camera as standard on all the Forte SR series, and also all of them come with all-terrain tyres.
And only 1,780 kilos, is it, at Tare?
Correct. So tows really well, and as you said before, Max, quite well balanced, so can tows very, very nicely behind the car, and also the way in which we've designed the tanks and where the tank positioning is underneath, then when you load it up to laden, which I think we've got about 780 kilos of payload to play with between Tare and ATM. It's designed in a way that when you get it up to fully laden, it should tow just as nice as what it's towing today on our way to the review.
Still, no feedback from the van whatsoever. I don't know if that's the tow vehicle or what have you, but the caravan is just sitting really nice and level.
Trailing arm suspension, in my view, I think it's a great option for both on-road and off-road caravans. It gives you that ability that if you have some disturbance on one side of the van, may that be a pothole or something else, you're not getting that transference of instability across to the other side. You are fully independent, hence the name. So I think that's a huge factor in it. Weight distribution, as you said, is a big help.
So I'm inside the MDC Forte SR14 that I mentioned when I was back at the factory, and I'm with James Field. He's the General Manager of Commercial and Product for MDC. Now, James, this is a brand new model for you guys, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched the Forte SR Series, which is our on-road caravan series, back in May. Which is 7 caravans from 9 to 19 feet. And as you said, this is our SR14 model.
So a dedicated on-road caravan. What do you get in terms of your 12-volt system?
So the 12-volt system, 350 watts of rooftop solar, 200 amp hour lithium ion phosphate battery, 1600 watt pure sine wave inverter.
Now, I guess this is the sort of caravan that you're probably going to be doing a little bit of free camping with, a bit of, time at holiday parks. So what do you give for your water capacity? 2
80-litre water tanks and a 80-litre grey water tank as well.
So what about the way you build the caravans? This is an aluminium frame, isn't it?
100%, yeah. So we've been building off-road caravans for a long time. When we looked to develop our on-road caravan range, we wanted to look at a lot of the things there we do really well, and then also try and utilise in an on-road range. So as you said, yes, absolutely a fully aluminium frame, aluminium composite panel for the exterior, and then for the interior panelling is a plywood.
So while these vans, they're built overseas, but tell me about some of the suppliers that you use.
It's a great question. So MDC, we like to try and use quality brands and trusted appliances. So we use brands like Dometic, Truma for our hot water system, Thetford for our cooking, Malenko for our antennas, Projector for our electrical systems. So the reason we do this is it gives the customer that ability that if they do need to go and seek some help out, they've got that AU-based customer support, and we are using those quality appliances for our customers, so they're going to have longevity of use.
James, you pointed out something pretty interesting about the Dometic underbench fridge. What was that?
Yeah, so we're using the new Dometic NRX 130 in this model, and what's kind of cool for us and something we've looked at when we were looking to spec this model up. So it's 130 litre total capacity, but it's got a removable freezer tray on the inside.
Who do you see this van particularly suiting? This is a couples caravan. Do you have a particular demographic in mind?
We already have our off-road caravan range, which is what we specialised in for a long time. We bought the on-road caravan range in, and really the reason for that was because we understand and appreciate that not every single customer wants to go genuinely off-road. So developing an on-road range, therefore we've got stuff here which makes it a little lighter. In some of the models that we have in our SR range, they're up to 30% lighter than its off-road cousin. So weight is a big factor there, but we also know that customers don't need all the bells and whistles either, like that extravagant battery capacity. So we can save a little bit of time and effort there, and offer something like this is only up to from $49,990.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the topic of weights, because this to me seems really quite well weighted for what it is. I mean, it's a shade under 1,800 kilos at Tare, and you give just over 700 odd kilos for your carrying capacity, which is super generous.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though people are going on road, we appreciate that they'll want to go away maybe for extended periods. So we want to leave enough as a sufficient payload for the customer so they can pack everything they want and not have to worry about those, those weights, and still comes in at a 2.5 tonne ATM.
When I look around the caravan, I'm not really sort of seeing anything that's missing. You've got all your boxes ticked. Not only do you have quite a generous kitchen with loads of storage, you've got loads of storage at the rear of the caravan, and that bathroom has a lot to offer as well. There's some decent elbow room considering this is only a 14-footer. So how much sort of effort and time goes into tweaking the layout to make it work just right?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of experience and expertise over the years in this space with the off-road range, looking at what works, what doesn't. But we have a very set process at MDC where we work as a team and find what's the best layouts that we can work on, what works well from some of our other models. And I think where this has come to fruition quite well is in our on-road range. We've kind of pulled all these things together we know, and then pulled off 7 on-road caravans, which I think the layouts and the size and the price point should appeal to almost anyone.
What do you think about MDC's position in the marketplace? I mean, you guys are selling more than a handful of vans at the moment, so you're doing really well, not just in Queensland, but nationally. So tell me a little bit about the MDC story.
Yeah, so founded in 2005 by Vaughan Hindley. At the time, very entry-level camper trailers or tent trailers, basically a box trailer with a tent on top. And then Vaughan started to develop things. In 2013, MDC were the first company to build a hybrid caravan in China. From that point, basically any imported product you see in the market that's a hybrid coming out of China is essentially a copy of what we had developed originally in China in 2013. So we've had a long-standing relationship with our exclusive manufacturing partner in China, who build all of our vans with us. 2013, got into that van space, and now, as you said, 2024, we got over 30 models in the range. We've got one that's up to $100,000 in our 19-foot. Where we, I think, differentiate is the fact that we put so much time and effort into the model development, into those small things, the attention to detail, ticking all those boxes, and making sure that what we design and provide to a customer is of the best quality possible.
You mentioned attention to detail, and a couple of things that I've already pointed out to you was the fact that you've taken the time and the effort to put some little plastic collars, where the pipes exit the floor for the plumbing. So from humble beginnings for MDC, you've grown into quite a large company. The factory in Brisbane is impressive. How many people are you employing?
Yeah, so nationwide, 150 staff. We have 3 assembly facilities in Australia, one in Brisbane, one in Perth, one in Melbourne. We've got 8 showrooms nationwide and over 60 partner service providers around the country.
Inverter, do we have one?
Absolutely. So when we were developing the Forte SR Series, what we wanted to do is, because we don't option up or provide that typically for customers, we wanted to make sure that the system we were providing and the package we were providing basically had everything they wanted. So a big focus for us was for the electrical system. So yes, we've got a 1600 watt pure sine wave inverter, which I think is quite competitive, and coupled with the 350 watts of solar on the roof, you've got your 200 amp lithium battery, 50 amp AC battery charger, you've got 25 amp MPPT solar regulator and DC-DC charger, as well as full app and smartphone capability, so you can watch in live time all of your power consumption.
So it's a 14-footer, that's the external body length. But you know what? I don't feel like it's particularly squeezy or anything. I think most people, when they hear 14-foot, 16-foot, they just think tiny caravan. But it's just not, is it? It even feels a little bit narrower, but without being cramped.
I think the way in which everything's laid out, the east-west bed, also the choice of colours really help, I feel, to make it a little larger than perhaps what the space actually is.
So now that I've actually had a good look at this caravan, I think it's a really streamlined, unit. It's not overly big, nor is it overly heavy. It's got a really nice space-saving layout that ticks all the boxes and more. East-west bed, as James said, a really nice kitchen, and the fact that they've fitted a sizable bathroom with all that rear storage space, not to mention like a little vanity unit for washing your hands and that sort of thing. This is a winner. And I really mean it. I think people are going to really like this van. It's got that compact towing footprint. It should be relatively easy to store, under your carport at home. And the car that's in your driveway at the moment is quite likely going to be able to tow it. So good on you, James. Really appreciate you showing us around in not so sunny Queensland.
No problem. Sorry about the weather.